you guys? It's Nassim here. Now, after using the iPhone 13 mini for about 10 months now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind after using it on a day-to-day basis was this simple statement that I think explains the 13 mini pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 13 mini was the most underwhelming way for the mini series to go out. And I say this because when you think about it, the iPhone 13 mini was a really good phone, but it wasn't even close to reaching the full potential of the mini series. I wanted Apple to find a way to put a much better battery in a mini. I wanted to see what the mini will look like without the notch, and I wanted to see what 120 Hz will look like on a mini. And even though the mini series faced some criticism, I feel like Apple has given up on it too fast, and they could have ended the series with an amazing phone that could have boosted their sales even more. But besides my reasonings for why I think that the 13 mini wasn't the best phone to end the mini series, I still wanted to let you guys in on my experience with it to help you guys decide whether or not it's worth it. And now the first thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini is the display. Now the iPhone 13 mini has a 5.4 inch liquid retina display that overall feels really smooth. Whenever I was scrolling through the OS and any other app, I rarely got any lags, and I was really impressed with how well the 13 mini held up even after 10 months. And something that I really liked about the 13 mini was that it was really small in comparison to the regular 12 and 13, but it still had a full display unlike the SE3. So whenever I was using my phone, it wasn't hard to see anything and I could still enjoy everything that it had to offer. The brightness was honestly okay at best. Whenever I was outside with my phone and the sun was shining, I would usually have to put my hand over the phone so that I could see better, which was underwhelming when compared to other phones in the market. The responsiveness was exactly the same as the 13, and as you can see right here, everything feels really sharp. I didn't notice any hiccups, and whenever I would press on something, the app animations were flawless. And the last thing that I liked about the display was how good the overall viewing experience was. The resolution was very sharp, the colors were very vibrant, just like on the regular 13, and while the watching experience wasn't as good as the 13 Pro or the 13, it still got the job done and left me pretty satisfied. And to show you guys what I mean, here's an example of me playing a game and watching a video.
And does he do it? He does it! Beat straight by Dallas. Kobe back into the game and over with space. Takes advantage. He's got 11. Finding Andrew Bynum. Kobe picked up by White, who just came in, and Kobe.
And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini is the software. Now the software on the 13 mini was really impressive. When it came to how smooth it ran, the animations were very fast. Even when I was in my car and my phone would get hot, the software still held up really well and was able to withstand rough conditions. The only problem that I had was when I would play a power heavy game like Call of Duty, the battery would heat up and the game would become a little laggy. Also, the fact that it was putting more strain on the battery really took a toll on how the game would perform. But besides that, it still had those premium iOS features like the ability to connect to different devices at ease, iMessage, FaceTime, and all of those premium iOS apps that many people use. But overall, it still had that same iOS smoothness that even with the bugs was a joy of using. And if you are considering getting this phone, then using less power heavy apps will improve the performance and minimize the bugs. And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini is the battery. Now when it came to the battery on the iPhone 13 mini, I would get about 4 to 5 hours of on-screen time, which was much less than any of my other phones. Also, when I would go out, I didn't use any power heavy apps, and there were days where I was able to make it, and there were also days where I wasn't. Like there would be days where towards the middle of the day, I would be on 15%, and there were times where I didn't. But one thing I always kept in mind with the 13 mini was that I had to have my portable on me just in case I was having a bad day so that I could be covered. Now the charge times were pretty much the same as the 12 mini and 13. The only difference was that the battery life wasn't as good as those phones, which again wasn't as rewarding. So overall, I would say that the battery on the iPhone 13 mini was okay, and if you're someone who's looking to get the 13 mini in 2022, then there will be days where you can last all day, and there will also be days where you can't. And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini is the speakers. Now the speakers on the 13 mini weren't as good as the 13 or 13 Pro because they are indeed smaller, but I would still say that they were able to hold their own weight. The bass was weak as usual, but that's the case with most smartphones. The overall sound quality was pretty good though. The vocals were crystal clear, the instrumental sounded good. The only other problem that I had was that since they were smaller speakers, they weren't as loud, so that could be a turnoff for a lot of people. And to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video just so you can see how loud they are. final thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 13 mini is the cameras. Now the iPhone 12 mini has two 12 megapixel cameras that I would say was the same as the 13. It still was able to capture great looking photos and handle nice environments really well. And when we look at these daytime outside photos, we can see that this is where the camera was able to shine. My selfies were surprisingly good, the accuracy was on point, and the resolution was mildly sharp. Now when we look at the inside daytime photos, we can see that the camera game was able to shine with good lighting. The sharpness wasn't always there, but was still acceptable. My skin tone looked great, and the objects looked really good. And now when it comes to video quality, I would say that this is one of the best video cameras that you're gonna get in the market. Every video that I took was good, especially when the lighting was right. And to show you guys what I mean, here's a sample video. And there it is, my review on the iPhone 13 mini after 10 months of use. Now let me know down below, do you think that the iPhone 13 mini should have been the last phone in the mini series? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe, it'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.